Is the Handicappers Report. The Handicappers Report is brought to you by Pinnell's Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, Saratoga, just minutes from the track. The new Capital OTB wagering platform. Bet any place, anytime with the new Capital OTB wagering platform. And CapitalOTBBet.com, the premier wagering site in New York State.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Handicappers Report. Alongside Kevin Cox, I am Anthony Mormino as we kick off week 3. And if I had brown hair and a lot more of it, this would be Travers week. But that is not the case because not only that, we probably wouldn't be open yet. They would probably have waited to August 3rd to open up the meet in the 80s and 90s. I should say the 80s at least, of my youth. Usually, I think we had a couple opens on August 3rd, so it probably would have been next Wednesday would have been opening day. So these have all been gravy. Weather's beautiful once again. I mean, it's actually even nicer because the morning at least is starting off with probably a low dew point, but it's cool out. There's no wind at all, but it doesn't feel like we need it because it doesn't feel like there's much humidity in the air. I apparently am the one that doesn't perspire, so maybe I should ask you how it is out this morning.
I tell you, it was the first night I slept with my window open in quite some time.
So that's good, right?
That's something that would have been quite insufferable last week.
Okay, so that's our point of reference. When I do like, I told my wife, I said, if she'd like, 64 degrees sleeping. I love sleeping when it's, I love hot weather, but I love to sleep when it's cold, and as you said, impossible last week. But so far, each morning I've gotten up, it was a true indicator of what the day was going to be like. We had a couple mornings where I woke up and get outside the house early, and I'm like, this is going to be a rough one. And then a couple days before then, early in the meet, it was glorious in the morning, and you would be like 82 degrees out with a low humidity point. And it's been the longest stretch of summer weather, Kevin, upstate. And I told people, I pride myself on my memory, but nowadays I play golf very seriously, so I'm in tune with the weather. But our family went to London late June, and it only rained for an hour in London. Now they're going through a heat wave, but this has been the best stretch, if you like hot weather, I've ever experienced upstate this summer.
You can always tell as it gets towards the end of the meet,
then
when things start to change, where you actually putting on long sleeves in the morning.
Hoodie or something. Yep, that happens.
It's the biggest change from the start of the meet to the end of the meet in just like a month and a half's time, for sure.
It is, and my point of reference is as I drive up the Northway when there will be trees that will have begun to change color toward the end of the meet. And the other thing also I noticed, and this meet is basically almost twice as long as it was when I was in my early 20s, is that the sun goes down. As you get to the end of the meet, it's dramatically different than July 14th. July 14th will be light out till 10 at night. You get to the end of the meet and you're like, holy cow.
It's depressing, especially after the sales. That's when you really start counting backwards, after the sales, and then after the Travers, then you really start getting the heebie-jeebies about things coming to a close. I have this calendar at home somebody gave me. It's a big poster-sized calendar from 1983, Saratoga.
Okay.
And at the bottom it says the August place to be.
Sure.
Now, somebody who's new to the sport would come into my house and say, what's that all about? They had no idea that it was only August, just the 4 weeks. And I said, now it's the summer place to be. Right. Because it encompasses 3 months.
I mean, it is. I've always been a person that I'm everything has its place, and people always ask me, are you sad when the meet comes to an end? And I said no, because I would never think of it as an autumn place. Right. I mean, it is a summer thing, has always been for me, and it's time to go.
Do you think they'll ever go to Independence Day to Labor Day up here?
Well, I think the answer there is yes. That has always been to me the hard and fast bookends to it, because they have to be able to get help, and the Independence Day would be fine. We'll see if they get there someday. I think we opened a couple years ago, July 11th.
Right.
So that was the earliest opening ever, and obviously they would have had to open a week earlier. I'm rather sure they would do better here on Independence Day than Belmont Park. So it seems to be an attractive option.
Right. People are worried about the watering down of the product, but
I'm pretty sure that ship sailed. I mean, you can't. This is what I like to say. I think of the racing crop as 3-year-olds, 4-year-olds, and 5-year-olds. That's my point of reference. In 86, 87, 88, full crop size was just about 50,000. Well, full crop size now is less than half of that. So basically my thought is we're missing 75,000 racing horses.
Right.
You can't beat the numbers. It can never be what it used to be. They've done a great job by finding useful, attractive stakes races to have that idea of a stake a day. I mean, very, very hard to do. Easy to do with 24 days, not so easy to do with 40 days. But they've done a great job. And I think the idea is you just not so much accept it, but this is who it is. There were probably trainers in the 80s that we would have just scoffed at. I don't even think they came up here. Claiming trainers would just be like, They just wouldn't come up. It's not worth the thing. But now you're like, 60% of the meat is similar to the Belmont meat, except for the features and except for obviously the attendance, and it's summertime. I mean, that's how it is. The old days, they're gone. And I mean, there's two things I've said. One is, I wish the 40 days had been around when I was 25, and I wish there'd been 2 days off when I was 25.
Get off my lawn, you crazy kids.
That's right. The old man has spoken. All right, we're going to take a moment here. We're going to go to the DePaula Play of the Day. Steve Bick joins us.
When you think trucks, think DePaula. Then come join the family for value. Just visit, call, or click.
This week, celebrate with savings. Drive Silverado, just $3.99 a month. Yes, $3.99 a month.
So come join the family and think DePaula for all your automotive needs.
Hey everybody, coming to you from Colonial Downs in Williamsburg, and looking forward to starting week 3 at Saratoga with the DePaula Play of the Day. We're going to go to the 9th race. It's a 3rd level allowance, 1 mile on the inner turf. Going to go out to the 7 Evie Jets, Bob Amendola, with the Twirling Candy filly that broke her maiden on the Widener at Saratoga last summer, and coming off of a 2nd level allowance win with Eric Hansel, 6-1, and can absolutely win this race. Going to have to work out a little bit of a trip from the outside, but got a tactical style and a little bit of speed when necessary, and 6-1. That's my kind of play of the day. It's the DePaula Play of the Day. 9th race, the 7-horse, Evie Jets. Let's get lucky.
When you think trucks, think DePaula. Then come join the family for value. Just visit, call, or click.
This week, celebrate with savings. Drive Equinox, just $2.59 a month. Yes, $2.59 a month.
So come join the family and think DePaula for all your automotive needs.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Handicappers Report. We have to make, some of us are less adventurous during the meet than others. And I love a good out-of-the-way racetrack. Probably not during Saratoga, but I mean, I do want to go to Fort Erie someday and see the Prince of Wales, and I would like to go see the King George, and I would like to go with my wife, probably for our 25th anniversary. I think I'd like to go to Deauville. Those are about the only 3 times that I think of myself leaving Saratoga. But last year I went to Arlington because it was closing. But Union Fair, Maine wasn't on my list. And after seeing the photos that you posted on social media, it would only be on my list because you need to have a reference point of what looks the least like legitimate racing. That photo you posted of the finish line, I'm like, that's not legit. That's not like, I thought the Great Barrington Fair when I was a teenager was rough, but so tell us about Maine and horse racing. Thoroughbreds, because I know they have standardbreds, but
Right.
thoroughbreds.
I have a little hobby where I collect racetracks, greyhound tracks, and highlight facilities. And last month I hit the 100 mark out in Wyoming. I went to Energy Downs, and then I capped it off with number 100 at Wyoming Downs. And recently I found out that they have these little fairs in Maine, but they're 5 days, and they're at a fair, you know, with the whole Snickers, frozen Snickers bar, fried, deep fried Snickers and all that. I said, you know, with Arlington closing, all these tracks closing, I figured I better hit these suckers before they're gone, because out of the fairs they had set up for this summer, one has already been canceled. So on the dark days, actually Sunday, I drove down to, I drove down to JFK, and then the next day I flew into Portland, Maine, rented a car, drove 180 miles round trip to Union Fair, got there 3 hours early, and sat in my car doing, I guess I was doing Friday's column on the computer right there. And I like these quaint places. I do. I mean, the finish line...
You usually get good food.
The finish line basically was 2 pieces of wood, prophetically in the shape of a cross. And it said finish line on it in red paint. And they had no TV monitors there. They did have betting windows. The announcer was very good.
If you made your bet with a 50, they probably had to close the line to get changed.
Basically, the triples were alls, like such and all, you know, in the third spot. It all went well until I got stranded there. They canceled my flight, 5 hours left, and there's no other way to get out of Maine. I wasn't about to pay the extra $150 to drive the car downstate plus gas, and there I was, wearing the same set of clothes like Steve Martin and Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. I've been wearing the same underwear since Monday.
We didn't really need to know that, but I will say this: New England Fair Circuit was always a big thing. In Massachusetts, used to have Great Barrington right when this meet ended, and they had Marshfield and Northampton. They might have had another, but you're right; they are a dying breed. But it is. You know, I usually look forward to it. When I saw those pictures, I'm like, I don't know if I'm going there, except to get a reference point of what might be the least looking racetrack I've ever been to.
Walter Case is still riding, still there, still driving. There's a Saratoga shipper there that day as well.
Oh my goodness. All right, let's turn our attention to week number 3. Hard to imagine. It's beautiful out here, folks. The opener, the jumps, non-winners to 2 lifetime, 2 miles and a 16th. You get to go. Is this your thing? Are you a jumper guy?
I'm big into the jumpers.
Okay.
It gives the horses a viable second career.
Because I am
I'm all about that. I promote them every chance I can.
Okay.
I went with the number 8, Welshman. Not involved early last time out. 29 lengths back early on. Made a huge middle move to get within 2 lengths of the leader. And then faded late in the game. It was the second start off the layoff. Oddly enough, this one won over the flat and then was turned into a jumper immediately afterwards. You don't really see that too often. Usually, if they win a race over the flat, they'll stick with it until they're no longer good on the flat. The jock-trainer combo is doing better together than apart. When you're looking at jockey-trainer stats, if they're both at 18% and they're 18% together, I don't pay too much attention to that because that's their normative rate. But they do much better together than apart, 22%. And this one already won over the jumps, 2 starts back. So I'm going to take a shot there at 9-2. Flipping a page for my second selection, number 6, Freddie Fincher. The jock has had a huge year, 33%. Quick work for a closer after the last. You don't see too many jumpers go 1 minute and 13 over the wood chips, or Polly actually. But Kerry Brion is doing, if that's how you say it, Brion has done fantastic since she started things out. And this one finished a good third, and the only jumping start after a layoff. So that's not much of an issue. And then I rounded it off with the number 3, B Major. Tossed the last. This one hates soft ground, and got the job done in his only second off the layoff try.
I have a chance to finish in the black with the jumps after Seth and I nailed the inaugural jump, which I think paid 15 and change. I'm not so sure how many jumps we're going to have here. So my goal is to...
You're hoping it's 6 and not 8.
Yeah, well, no, that would be the easy way out. But I like to take the Ted Williams way out where, you remember the story, he was hitting like 399, 86, and So he would have hit 400, but he's told his manager that doesn't work for me. I'm playing, and he went like 6 for 8 in a double.
Every year I watch the baseball documentary and they talk about it.
I mean, it's like I want to win. I don't care if they're running 9 or 10. I want to win one more and finish. I'm 7-8-1. I'm not a jump aficionado. I will say one thing I noticed that 4 of these runners, which are the 1, 2, 4, 6. One broke their maiden in their most recent jump race, and as I mentioned earlier, it's a 2L race, and I have State of Affair, who to me, I guess is shortening up, and I'm suspecting maybe is getting class relief. I have no idea what that means with jumps. The one that I did think was interesting, you're with Welshman, who is my second play in here, as a 3-year-old. Wins on the flat. I mean, it's not like a 7-year-old. This was a 3-year-old who won on the flat, and as you mentioned, went to the jump. Somewhat surprising, but interesting race in the opener. Hopefully, there's another.
And there was no monstrous layoff after that.
No, it's fall to spring. They took the turf season off. On to the second half of the early devil, 3-year-olds and up. Fillies and Mares in for 14 non-winners to 3 lifetime, going 6. As an example, what we were saying earlier. First off, this type of condition, restricted claimers didn't exist in New York until about 10, 15 years ago, and it would be less apt to be run here. Matter of fact, when NYRA first brought them in, and I think this is correct, the Aqueduct Inner Dirt Meet in the finale race was the first place I saw consistently restricted claimers showing up, and then obviously it just seeped into the rest of the pool, and it's at Saratoga. We're going to run 40 days, about 10 races a day. That's 400 races we got to write. So,
like you said, a sign of the times?
Yes, have at it.
I went with the number 5, Bells on Her Toes here. Whenever you see a horse taking a big drop, you have to look at why the horse was entered in that race. Add the dates. This one was laid off for a month, then was stepped way up. I don't think Charlie really intended to win that race. Sometimes trainers like to put a false line on the page in order to dissuade people from purchasing next time out. This one got the job done in the start just before that. It was 2 for 2 for Davis, aside from the last loss. Baker is 2 for 2 when dropping his dirt run is 50% or more. Off breaks are 42 to 50 days. And I'm expecting a good one out of this one. My secondary selection is the number 6, Big Tony's Girl. Finished second in the lone pairing with Carmouche and likes the trip. 11 starts, 2 wins, 3 seconds, and 3/3. Of course, I always love the outside draw in sprints. And my third selection is number 1, Not Anymore. A record of 3 starts, a win, a second, and a third. When breaking from the inner 2 slots, I always pay attention to how horses do from the inside or the outside. Some like running while covered up, and some prefer to be running on the outside. And this one's available for a tag for the first time, which is something that's worth paying attention to.
Can you give me the next line of Bells on Her Toes?
The next line?
Yeah. Well, obviously, you don't have to.
Oh, is it a song?
Yes.
Oh, God. No.
His second biggest hit, Tony Orlando and Dawn. Rings on her fingers.
I know 2.
Bells on her toes. Say, has anybody seen my sweet Gypsy Rose?
I know a couple of their songs. That one.
Well, I only know that one and Tie a Yellow Ribbon. But when I saw Bells on Her Toes, I was like, well, must be fans of Tony Orlando Dawn in the early 70s. In my mix for a second, but I went to daily briefing for John Terranova making the first start since early May. Had a victory a couple races back when down in South Florida going 6.5. I know Gomez only has that one victory a couple of days ago, but I thought it was a wide open race. The points about Bells on Her Toes, this is the right spot after the 2L win. Throw out the last one. And then I have Not Anymore, who's first time in for a tag for a very sharp Mid-Atlantic operation. So 4, 5, and 1. On to the third race. We're going to have State Breds, 2-year-olds, maiden special weights. They will dash 5.5 on the turf.
Yeah, I went with the number 7, Vince the Prince on top. A race like this, it's good to use the formula a little bit. When you have all these firsters in there, you can jump down some rabbit holes. This one is a half to a turf field, about 10 starts, 5 wins, 2 seconds, and a third, earning $83,000. Not facing much here, and of course, like I said before, it draws well. I love the outside. The number 6, Wayhill Farm Road, will be my second selection. I'm going to give this one another shot on the turf after flopping on the dirt. adds blinkers, which is worth paying attention to. Actually, that's my third choice. But second half of the Clement uncoupled entry with the number 2, my second choice, Disarmed. Whenever you see a bullet gate breeze or a gate breeze that's second or third best on the day, your ears should perk up. There was a nice 47-3 right here on the main. And look at the breeding price compared to the purchase price. This one went for 3 times more the stud fee at auction, $165,000, and is obviously going to be well bet.
I hear one of the things for me is this is it's not my forte, and I'm not talking about the 2-year-old filly on opening day. What's she on, 4th in the Skyville? But because there are very few trips, there's very little pace analysis, and I'm not dialed into people that have my cell phone number and say, Anthony, we can run. And as I've always said about debut horses, and particularly 2-year-old debut horses, is actually the only phone calls I want are when somebody tells me, you know, she can barely stand up. We're trying to figure this out. We're a work in progress, or, we're carrying a little extra weight. I only want to hear the negative because, maybe they think they have Seattle Slew too. But if you say, she's just figuring out how to run, I'm like, okay, that's good. Probably not today, another time. And so to me, I call it guessing because, it's somewhat educated when you look at this often. And to me, Disarmed, the McLean's Music runners, and he was an interesting stallion. And he had that one famous start at Santa Anita for Steve Astis, who ran a hole in the wind. I could guarantee he got a triple buyer speed figure. I don't know what 103 is the number that sticks in my mind.
Something
but
like that, yeah.
And there are very few horses that ever on debut get a triple buyer.
Right.
Never ran again. Came out as a stallion. Had, I thought pretty good success. Like for a horse, you're betting on one race. So I'm just guessing along with the rest of you, and as you said, the gate workouts. This horse is going to get bet. So Christophe Clement first, that's 8-5. This horse is getting bet for the New York bred program. For underneath, I have the War Dancers of number 1, 26 Black, goes out with Jose Ortiz. And one thing you've noticed that is not counterintuitive, it's actually intuitive, that in these 5.5 furlong turf sprints, I've never ridden a horse, but I would never give up position.
Right.
Under no maybe if I had to get out for safety, but to me, I saw a pretty good jock, just give up position. I didn't think he thought like he was going to get it back at 5.5 furlongs. He wasn't getting it back. So then he had to take the overland route and, got skunked. But to me, I'd fight for it every inch. And I've had jockeys tell me that sometimes you come back and the owner or the trainer is like, why'd you use up so much energy early? It cost us late. And I'm like, so I understand they have to get jobs. But to me, I'd be heck bent on the front. And, at the moment that I could first take my breather, I try and get it, but not at the cost of position. To me, I want to be up front, taking my chances, and I have your top pick at the bottom for me, so 2-1-7.
Another thing I tell my readers is you don't really need to pay as much attention to pedigree in these turf sprints, because I see some fast dirt sprinters do well, because they don't really, the ground can be so hard at times, right. and it's not as pertinent as it would be in a route.
Right, and we would expect that, and I've said this to our audience often, that firm on July 27th is often different than firm on October 27th in New York. Matter of fact, I would think they might not have anything in common besides it's green grass. And as you said, it gets to the point where some turf horses like it to rattle their feet. Well, you would think dirt runners would be like, oh, that's good for me too.
Right.
Firm is good, and it's certainly firm with the weather we've been having. 4-3. Oh, we'll take a quick break. I apologize. When we come back, today's graded feature, the Honorable Miss.
A day at the track isn't complete without a night at the Horseshoe. Great food, hot music, and cold drinks. So why go downtown when all the action's just across from the track? The Horseshoe Inn at the corner of Nelson and Gridley.
Come on.
I want sales reports on my desk by Monday.
Oops. My bad.
Love racing? RTN brings you every live simulcast on your home television, plus live video streaming and race replays on your PC and mobile devices. To order, visit rtn.tv. RTN, a breed apart.
Birdstone is an outside front. They're coming down to the finish. Can Smarty Jones hold on? Here comes Birdstone. Birdstone surges past. Birdstone wins the Belmont Stakes. Here comes High Chaparral. High Chaparral, the defending champ, to take it to Paul Brown. These two arch rivals head to head with Joe Hart bearing down on them. It's going to be a 300 photo finish to the top. Here's the winner. Photo finish.
This is Seth Merrill, and it's time now for the Dark Horse Play of the Day, brought to you by the Dark Horse Mercantile in downtown Saratoga. The Dark Horse is always the smart bet, and if you're downtown, don't forget to stop by the Dark Horse Mercantile. Go up the street to their sister store, Impressions of Saratoga. You'll have a lot of fun browsing in both locations, downtown Saratoga. Today's Dark Horse Play, race number 6, horse number 6, Disruption. This is a Chad Brown-Klarovich runner that has some win early breeding, and these are connections that I'm always attracted to with first-time starters, particularly here at Saratoga. Practical Joke is the sire. This year so far, Practical Joke has had 59 first-time starters, 10 winners, 4 seconds, 6 thirds. Solid numbers for a debut runner sired by Practical Joke. The dam produced a sibling called Kept Waiting. That one took 5 starts to win, but in those first 5 starts also had 3 seconds and the win. And in the first 11 starts of the career, had 5 wins. So I think this is a dam who produces win early types and just win overall types with a record like that from the sibling Kept Waiting. So a little of what I like to say, the nature and nurture. You have the nature with the breeding Practical Joke, and the dam who produced a nice winning sibling. And the nurture with Chad Brown and Klarovich, a team that produces first out winners very often. We're looking at 5-1 on the morning line. Some of these Chad Brown runners have surprisingly floated around a little bit, and the odds have gotten better. I'm not sure, given that, which direction this horse will go, but we'll take the 5-1 that the morning line gives us. That'd be nice, and if it went up, even better. But in race number 6, horse number 6, Disruption, the Dark Horse Play of the Day, brought to you by the Dark Horse Mercantile. I'm Seth Merrill. Have a great day. Score on the Dark Horse and more. I will be live on set tomorrow, Thursday. So again, have fun on Wednesday. Good luck.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. The Handicappers Report coming to you live from beautiful Clare Court. Alongside Kevin Cox, I am Anthony Mormino. Kicking off week number 3, the graded feature today, the 4th race. 3-year-old and up, fillies and mares going 6 furlongs in the honorable miss.
I can guarantee you, one of my 3 selections will be in the exacta here. It's a trunk.
I like those odds.
You know, there's been a few truncated fields here this meet, but they've been good races. They've been pretty competitive for
right. You know, you have to separate. There's like 3 legs. It doesn't help me because I'm a trifecta player, but that's fine. I only need like 2 or 3 opportunities a day. That's one leg of the stool. That's out. They have been great athletic contests, right, which is, you know, knock the ball out of the park. And then it's for the horizontal players who have to decide if they want, like, for example, it would have been Clairiere and Malafat, if we're thinking about Sunday's Chuvy. Do you take those 2 and move on, or do you try and single one? And then the other, on Saturday, was the Coaching Club American Oaks, so you had Nest and Secret Oath, where I could have singled, but I know, you know, from the smarter horizontal players I've talked to, you take both of them and you feel as if you have 80 or 90% of the race covered, you moved on. I don't always agree because I had such an opinion on Nest. I would have singled her and moved on. Those are 2 races that were not available to me as a trifecta player.
That was an oddly run race, wasn't it?
In which degree? That Secret Oath went after her
just
earlier?
The whole flow of the race.
2 things that I thought was Nest ran the race I was expecting her to have, and I thought Secret Oath needed to do, if she had let her get away, it would have been even worse. and I was completely confident on the backstretch when Secret Oath engaged them, and it was a 3-pronger. I would have bet even more money at that point that I have the right horse. I was very confident Ness was going to go on with it, and I really thought in that race, I played the one punch exacta, and I didn't exactly know what Tyler Gaffalione was doing on Socially when he missed a break. Just calm down and relax.
Right.
And I thought she could have. I thought Secret Oath was there for the taking.
You're clear division leader right now, obviously.
Yeah. That was. We got to see what the other two big ones do. So who do you like in the honorable miss today?
I put the obvious choice, Bella Sophia, on top.
Try.
A win over the course, 2 for 3 at the trip. And what really points her out is the uncharacteristic quick breeze. You look at this one's workout pattern. Normally doesn't work out that quickly in the morning. But on July 16th, there was a 59-1, a best of 26. So Rudy's really got the screws tightened. One thing does scare me. Obviously, I have Frank's Rocket second. This one is 6 starts, 4 wins, 2 seconds off true layoffs. I consider a layoff more than 50 days. DRF does it a little bit differently. But one thing that could throw a monkey into the wrench, as they say, the 3-horse, I'm a devil, Speedy sort. If she hooks Bella Sophia early on, or at least presses her enough to sap some energy out of her, it could set it up for Frank's Rocket. But here I am giving multiple opinions in a 4-horse race.
It's okay. What I like about Bella Sophia is certainly not the price, but I do think that this doesn't happen as often. I actually think Bella Sophia will be sticking around for the ballerina. So my bigger thought would have been the grade 1 7 furlongs is on the horizon.
Right.
She won the test last year for the 3-year-olds. I'm not saying this is anywhere near practice, but if you said to me, I have the honorable miss in the ballerina, I'm going forward to get to the ballerina through this mechanism. But she's an outstanding sprinter, 6 for 8 lifetime, and she is my top choice here. Frank's Rocket for second. And Kamari. The interesting thing about Alma is, and trust me, it's usually worked out well, are these out-of-town sprinters that can engage, these big flight sprinters.
7 for 8 lifetime, too. It's down, it's Thistledown and Mount,
We're going to find out.
Yeah.
The buyer speed figures aren't great, but, people that do pace numbers, maybe these internal fractions are really strong. And the question would be is how far she can take her. But honorable miss, Bella Sophia in here makes it a terrific sporting event. On to the 5th, 3-year-olds and up. Entry-level allowance for $115,000, going 12 furlongs on the inner turf course.
A few years ago, I was down doing some paddock prattle with somebody at Churchill Downs, and I said, this is a good race to go get a beer, a good race to pass, skip the race, a really difficult race. And he looked at me, he says, Kevin, we don't skip races here. Don't encourage them to go get a beer. But I always say, go walk the Marmot, or do your laundry, or check out the Big Red Spring. I just consider it one of the toughest races of the day. I went with the obvious choice, Forwardly, fittingly named, is moving forwardly, has improved over his 3 starts thus far. What my friend taught me is you put an upwards arrow to remind yourself that a horse is on the improve. Now, regression is always possible in a second off the layoff, a second time blinkers deal, because they can move forward and then come back a little bit. They get perked up and then maybe they're not that good. But I'm going to bet that the light stays on. My secondary selection is the number 5, Dante's Fire. Has done okay off an elongated absence. Actually, this one's raced in June. I don't know why Davis isn't on the horse. Usually if a jockey finishes in the board at 40 some odd to 1, they give him a call back. Maybe he had another call for the race and then the horse wasn't entered. Louis is a capable sub. Third choice is a number 6, Mooney Love. You don't see too many horses literally come off the boat and not be laid up. This one comes from Germany. Look at the comment line from last start. Won comfortably at 16 to 1, earning the best time form figure to date. And I love that they're still leaving Lasix out of the mix.
As far as the last race was in Germany, I have no idea who the sketches are, but I know that the rule is in Germany, if you ever take it, you can't be a stallion.
Really?
Yeah.
Over there?
You can't come back and be a stallion in Germany.
The more you know. I did not know this.
Yep. Which, with international racing, you know, they come in, you kind of wonder that. You're like, no, can't come back to be a stallion. And I'm not saying that's what they're doing, but I'm just saying the last race was in Cologne, the impressive effort. I'm 3-2-1. If I were a horizontal player, I would say I would be very comfortable with the 2 and 3 moving on. Giroux is my top pick. Mike Maker is having an outstanding meet. We're going to talk about it later on Racing Across America. And I'm trying to draw I think all of his wins are turf wins, which isn't a shocker. Irad Ortiz, I love the elongated turf racing at Saratoga. I love 3 turns. I think it's such a tactical race now. It's Irad versus Flavien Prat, so I don't get an edge there. But to me, this is all Giroux against Forwardly, you mentioned. I always wanted to ask, what happened that we don't have a buyer speed figure in the 11 furlong race at Belmont?
A timing malfunction.
Yeah, but
I know. I mean,
there's
don't get me started on the blocking setup, please.
I am friends with on Twitter with a gentleman who does Craig Milkowski, just the time for him.
Good man, Oklahoma guy.
He has shown multiple times on his MacBook Air how to time races through frames to get it so darn close, because he has to deal with these and he can't just say, oh, timing mechanism, and he figures it out. And he figures out when they're wrong and about by how much. And I believe him.
I get befuddled as to how you have a beautiful place like this. They put hundreds and millions of dollars into the sport, and you can't keep a clock. Don't get off my lawn. Don't get me started.
3-2-1 for me, and I think the 3-2 really has this race in good position. On to the 6. State bred 2-year-old fillies, major special weights, going 6.
I went with the 247. The number 2, Recognized on top. Slides in 4 slots off second place finish first time out. The show horse that day came back to win and improved by about 9.7%. Let's call it 10%. And buy department next time out. My secondary pick was Danseur. You speak French, I guess, the way you said Deauville before.
Yes.
Danseur d'Oro. Nice buyer fig first out with a 65. Just hard to exclude. Looking a little bit chalky here. Third pick is number 7, Miracle. Another one with a bullet gate breeze. Always pay attention to those gate moves, because for the novices out there, most workouts, about 90% of them are done with a flying start. So the horse is already in motion. So when you see a horse starting out of the gate, a flat-footed start, and they're better than 95% of the horses who worked out at that distance, your ears should be perked up. Another one who went for substantially higher than the stud fee, 10 times higher at Ocala last year. And 5 immediate members of the family tree. I always go back to the parents and grandparents. Out of the 5 immediate members that I was able to unearth, one of them won first time out, and the other 4 won second time out. So this one could be ready.
For me, it's 6-2-8. Practical Joke, son of Into Mischief, young stallion, goes out for Klarovich and Chad Brown. Solid workouts on debut. But I will say this is a state bred race, and I think it's deep, as my third selection we'll get to. From the Rail is number 2, Bill Mott, second time starter. After getting bet to Bill Mott first, you're at 3-1 on debut. For third, August Bloom, a first time starter for Joe Sharp. Arrogate, unfortunately, has passed away. We'll have, his stud career is over, but this is one of the few. Solid workouts. You talk about breezy from the gate, 1 minute and a fifth. I've left out Miracle that you have for third. How about Christophe Clement's Liam's Map, offspring number 5, Silver Skillet. I know we typically get more hyped up for the open company maiden special weight races, but I think this 2-year-old filly, New York State bred, kind of indicative of how far the New York State breeding program has come in the 40-plus years I've been following it closely. I think it's a terrific 6th race.
And on a quick side note, kudos to Al Goals, who won the Haskell. We'll be talking about that later. But he's got one in here. He always names his horses very interestingly. Alice Cramden is signed on. He's busted out of Cleon Jones and, of course, Cyberknife. So if I lose, I hope he wins. He's a good man.
There you go. We take a quick break. When we come back, the late pick 4.
It only takes one upset to make history, especially in Saratoga, the graveyard of champions, where the dark horse can overcome the odds, defeating the favorites and wowing the crowds. The smart bet is always the dark horse.
Keeneis has got him! Keeneis has won the Travers over American Pharoah in a dramatic upset.
Hello everyone, I'm Scott Vartley and I'm here at the West Condominiums in Saratoga Springs. And guess what? We are down to the home stretch. Everything is 2 bedrooms and 2 baths. Come make a selection of one of the greatest condos ever to be built in Saratoga Springs. We're starting in the upper 5s and the only rooftop penthouse available now under construction. Wow, just look at this patio. We have a rooftop pool, heated garage, balconies, and a gym. Call me at 518-281-6808.
Capital OTB is now streaming live on Roku. The RTN Racing channel on Roku lets you watch OTB TV live through your Roku device or your Amazon Fire Stick, rather than being limited to computers and mobile devices, which means you can now watch OTB live wherever you are. Simply open Roku, scroll to find the RTN channel, then click on OTB TV. OTB TV on Roku. Try it now.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Race number 7, going to be a mile 16 on the Mellon turf course, the outer one. Restricted to 3-year-olds in for the tag of 40,000.
My selections are 5, 1, 3. Number 5, Mirth and Merriment. Oodles of speed here. Shipping in from Presque Isle. Tampa runner as well. Whenever you see those ones on the page, you have to pay extra special attention. Has done well at the trip, 1 for 3. Like I said, I'm not really digging the race entirely. If I'm landing on a favorite, I'm really not digging the race that much. Secondary selection, the number 1, Hatari, gets an upgrade in the jock department from Ricardo Santana to Irad. Found the line first in her only start when entered for a tag, is dropped in for 40,000 today. And my third choice is the number 3, Vintage Girl. Finished second in her lone start at this level 3 back and has been in the superfecta in 8 of 9. I like to see that when a horse can earn checks. Somebody you could put in your trifectas, as Anthony likes to play. Had a little bit of trouble last time out, altered out, and should do better with a cleaner trip.
I have 5, 1, 2, so in our exact, it's the same. You look back a couple of races back, you take out the 2 synthetic efforts, not so much that they were synthetic, but they were allowance conditioned races at Presque Isle, was in for the $75,000 tag. But to me, I would have been confident because I'm like, I don't think anybody's going to jump in for $75,000. So this horse is run against better late, if I just presume, over at Presque Isle, which I've always liked their meet. Running daytime now versus night. I like the night because I came home and there they were for me. Not there anymore. So comes off of a victory, runs back for a tag for only the second time. Junior Alvarado, who's decided to come back to the Naira circuit. He has them out for Tim Ham. For a second, Hatari mentioned was in the Jonathan Thomas barn, is in the Mike Maker barn. We know how much success Mike Maker has had on the turf at Saratoga 2022 particularly. And then Spooky Road for Mike Maker. They add blinkers today. This is the 7th career start. First time in with the blinkers. And I didn't think this horse, lagged behind that much. So maybe they just want a little extra sharpness. I do not know. But 5, 1, 2 in the 7th. On to the 8th race. We have 3-year-olds and up, fillies and mares, in for 16. Non-winners of 2 races in a lifetime on the Dirt Racing 6.
This is my value play of the day. I looked at the morning line, and we discussed last week. Mr. Aragona does an excellent job with the morning lines here. Probably the best in the country. I love when somebody takes pride in their work, like Ed Burgott, did when he was
LaSalle, right?
He's still making the morning lines out there. Lady Yellen.
You've been to LaSalle?
I've been to LaSalle as part of my collection. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I tell people it's a terrific.
I love
track.
I love my quarters. I love watching the starter there. He's such a professional. I love watching him, and they do a good job there. Lady Yellen, I don't know why she's 10-1. This one has the second best last out by a speed figure in the race. Second best, and you're getting 10-1. I'm just not understanding. It's not like there are a bunch of monsters in here. The horse with the best last out figure in this race, the favorite, that came on the grass and has not touched the dirt in a year and a half. So I don't think you're going to get 10-1 yet. I really don't. I'd be happy with 8-1. I'd be darn happy. Linda Rice is 3 for 9 with mid-level Dirt fillies who won their maiden 9 to 50 days ago. The winners came back $5, $4, and $12. And I think it's a viable alternative to the number 8 Old Gotten Girl, who was actually my third selection. Pletcher has put up the white flag on this one. Went for $140,000 at auction. Could be all yours for 16 large today. I'm quite sure there'll be a plethora of slips dropped in the box. But like I said, a year and a half since the horse has raced on a fast dirt track, not just a dirt track. And my secondary selection, number 5, Preposterous, another one that's up for grabs for the first time. Got the job done in the lone turf to dirt attempt, and was going long to short that day as well.
I have 7-5-3. One thing I'll say about the 8 at even money, Todd Pletcher, these are the types of horses as a trifecta player. They can beat me. I don't think I'm as negatively impacted by tossing short favorites as horizontal players are. To me, it's like, well, I'll just go to the next one. I'm not. It's very difficult for me to derive value from horses such as Old Gotten Girl winning the race. Now, horizontal players can turn it into something positive. It's very difficult for me. And besides that, as you mentioned, David set the price, and if you're betting Old Gotten Girl, it has to be off the January 10th, 2021 race where I got a buyer speed figure of 81. Good luck if you want to play the game that way. I mean, Godspeed to you guys. It doesn't work for me. But another world inside for Michael Trambetta, a very good trainer. Ships in from Thistle Downs, but did try Presque Isle. This horse won the second career start on dirt, going 5.5. That was at Hawthorne. According to the average buyer speed figure that wins this race, that's good enough to win. I'm going to get a price in here as we run for a tag for the first time. For second, Preposterous running for a tag for the first time for a sharp outfit. And for third, Lady Yellen is third on my list, but she was closer to being first than second. I've spoken numerous number of times of how Spicetown shocked me as a stallion and has shown himself to be a sire of sires. And Central Banker, who has helped me out in this meet, is one of the three, along with Spicer and Munnings, who right now is the king of the sons of Spicetown. But 7-5-3 in a race that I don't think as easy as putting the even money morning line favorite on top.
As a triple bettor, are you passing this race?
No. This is the kind of race that invites me in and salivates. I will toss her completely.
You'll toss her, so you won't hedge with, you'll just leave it completely out?
Oh yeah, I'll give you the best story I can give. 1996 Breeders' Cup Classic. I love Alphabet Soup. I'm thinking Cigar is waning. So I key and leave Cigar out. I have Mount Sassafras, who had been recently gelded at 100-1 with Mickey Walls. And the triple came back 5 figures with Louis Couture's running second. My friend Chester goes, because he knows I'm a pyramid bettor, lots of horses in third. He goes, well, you got to have this. I go, no, I don't. I said, I don't have Cigar on a ticket. And he's called it crazy, but that was 25 plus years ago. He says, in the long run, you have shown with a tremendous ROI that it doesn't hurt you that much. I mean, it hurt that day, and I should have known better in the Breeders' Cup Classic, where you can always get money. Since there are no probable pays on Trifecta, I would like to see the data someday on what that type of runner in a small field in a claiming race pays you. I could have made money with Cigar running third. I should have. I made a bad bet. I made a stupid bet. I tried to win the whole pool. And I should. I mean, I won money in the race because Alphabet Soup was 23-1, so it worked out. And that's the other thing. I always tell people, when my horses are 6-1 or more, I bet them to win. It almost always covers the exotic play. So
often people just throw in a favorite because it's the favorite. They don't trust their own opinion.
I'm looking to throw the favorite out. That's how I look through the tunnel. 3-year-olds and up. Ninth race, 3-year-olds and up. Fillies. Optional claimers 80, non-winners of 3, other than a mile on the inner turf course.
Yeah, I'm not really digging this race that much. I went with the 5-4-1. The 5 Messidor gets a little bit of class relief off the perfect sting. Finished 4th that day at 9-2. Back on Lasix, which is key. This one is done well on Lasix. 5 starts, 2 wins, and 2 thirds. Castellano comes back to getting 2-1. My secondary selection is the number 4, Amalfi Princess, another one back in optional company today. Got the job done beneath Sires, 2 starts back. Third choice, number 1, High Opinion. Yet another one with an abundance of backlash. Has done well on this course, just a nose shy of being 2 for 2. And you're getting my favorite jockey these days, Flavian Pratt, or Flavian.
4 in a row stakes races on Saturday at Monmouth Park for the young man. I am 4-5-3. Amalfi Princess is my top pick for Mike Maker. Ships in from Minnesota or Canterbury Downs, a second place finish, a strong effort coming in for a strong barn. Luis Saez rode this horse 2 races back to a victory at Belmont. He gets the call. For second, number 5, Christophe Clement sends out this off the board, a good off the board finish in the Perfect Sting, a listed stakes race at Belmont. Before that, won a 2X. And for third, Phantom Vision for Mike Maker comes out of the very one stakes, finishing off the board. That is a turf sprint. Now gets into a route 4, 5, and 3. We'll take our final break. When we come back, this afternoon's finale.
No matter where in the world you are, the excitement of wagering on horse racing is just a click away. You'll get live streaming, past performances, race replays, our virtual tote board, analysis and selections from professional handicappers, a simple, safe, and secure wagering platform, and best of all, you get track prices. CapitalOTBBet.com. Bet any place, anytime at CapitalOTBBet.com. And be sure to download our new mobile app from the iTunes Store or Google Play.
What if there was a way to become a better horse player, to have a better knowledge of the game, to be more successful? What if there were a way to take what you've learned, what you know, and make better decisions, better choices? In horse racing, knowledge is a powerful tool. Race results and replays, past performances and live streaming, wagering from all your digital devices. Capital OTB. Become a better horse player.
Yes. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Still beautiful. Sometimes it warms up a little bit in this hour we're here, but it is glorious out here. So if you have some free time, even if you only come up for half the card, boy, it's a beautiful day to be at the track. I tell people, and you know, people work, and I understand all that, or it's something, but a weekday with the meet being its duration it is, boy, you can walk around. It's so comfortable. The weather seems like it's going to be perfect today. Just to come up for a couple hours and, you know, bet horses and have a dog and a soda or a beer or something and just meet people. I think it's a great way to spend a summer afternoon, even if I didn't, you know, love horse racing to the degree I do. The finale will be open company, 3-year-olds and up, fillies and mares, maiden special weights.
Yeah, I just want to preface this by saying we're doing our selections before the scratches. I always update my column after the scratches at around 10:30. So if something I give out a scratch, you can check it out on my Twitter page at Brooklyn Cowboy 1, because I always update right off the bat. I went with the 259 in the day's finale. Number 2, Adam's Angel, coming off a long break since, as I would say, turkey time back in November. We like that that Lasix is still out of the picture. They're not diving right back into the old, my horse is suddenly a bleeder line at the age of 3. Like first time out, Castellano lands elsewhere here, so Sayers hops on. That's fine by us. Secondary selection is number 5, Backyard Money. I almost went with this one on top because of the odds, 12-1. You would look at the buys and you would say, they're not that good. They're just in the 50s. But I like to prorate those figures. I add a certain amount of points for a horse going from his 2-year-old year to his 3-year-old year. So that would prorate to something in the 60s today if the horse is 100%. No drop, despite being cheaply bred. This one was bred for, I think, 11,000, 10,000. I pretty much made a circle over that number. But there's no scary drop. I like that. And Lucas is 2 for 3 when with dirt runners not getting Lasix off breaks of more than 50 days, and those winners came back $4 and $27. Third selection is the number 9. I'm not going to try to say the name because I'll probably just embarrass myself. This one is another one that showed a little bit of speed first time out. Expecting to last a little bit longer today than finishing 5th that day. Castellano takes the call, so 259 for me.
Not in my mix, but I know that the horse will have interest. Number 6, sire is Jess's Dream, who is curling out of Rachel Alexandra. You don't get too many Horse of the Year out of Horse of the Year, but Jess's Dream, who stands for $4,000 the stallion.
I remember that debut. That I was standing right here on the backside.
Was that the last early?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come from way out of the clouds.
Yeah.
Oh, that was
I know Karen had one of her foals. I think Todd Putch had the other one.
Okay.
I forget the math there, but I think that's the case. It was Jess's Dream was last early. I think it was the 2-turn race.
Yeah.
And then came running and scored the lead. Never ran again.
I don't think she ever ran again.
And Rachel Valentina, I don't know if she ever ran after the spin away.
Right.
So her foals, I think aggregate might have been 3 races. I could be mistaken there, but I think number 6. I think our audience would like to know that Nick Zito trains the runner, who I think will improve off the 45-1 hit the board finish. I'm 4-2-3, rather different. Course runner, Calumet, Rusty Arnold. Boy, I'll tell you, even though I've thought about him for years, not being first-time starter trainer, I think he had Furcroft might have paid $80 up here, but usually it's practice the first time and then, but 30% second-time starter with almost a $6 ROI. Well, course runner fits that mix, and even without that stat, at 16-1, unbetted debut, ran okay. I mean, to me, I always have to put it in a frame of reference of like the horse wasn't talked about, wasn't bad, and didn't run awful. Got the practice out of the way, now you move forward. Adams Angel, my second pick, your top pick, the offspring of the brilliant stallion and pretty good runner himself, into Michigan. For third, the first I'm taking in here is Liquidity Provider, Chad Brown, Claridge, $360,000 for this son of Connect. Connect is a son of Curlin. 4-2-3 in the 10th and final on opening day of week 3, and it is beautiful out there. So I think an interesting day. We have 2 New York bred maiden special weight races, and then the finale I think is outstanding. I don't know how often we get open company maiden special weight finales in New York, but that is a good addition. I think the optional claim of 80,000 3X is good, and it'll be intriguing to see how brilliant Bella Sofia is today with what I believe, just conjecture on my part, that the grade 1 ballerina is on the next hill.
Well,
That's all.
we'll know a couple of steps out of the gate if she doesn't get hooked. If she's able to get out there with a length and a half lead off of 22-4, the race
You would
is pretty
think
much
even
over.
at 85 to 90% she could win if she gets her way early, and the fact that maybe she'll be tighter for the ballerina won't lead to her upset in the grade 2 today. I mean, it's interesting. It's been an interesting race through the years since it was added to the docket, but as I said off camera and alluded to when we talked about the race, she's not looking for it being one and done. She's, I would think, clearly looking to do the sprinting filly and mare daily double that she will stay for the ballerina. So not a 6 furlong specialist is she. Well, that wraps up the Handicappers Report. As I said, if you have a free time, come on up. This looks to be a great day of the racing. We take a quick break. When we come back, racing across America for this beautiful Wednesday, July 27th.
You're watching OTB TV, a service of Capital Off Track Betting.